Hey guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys my 5 top drugstore bronzers and my top 5 high-end bronzers. You guys probably saw the haul that I did with bronzers. I filmed that about a month and a half or maybe 2 months ago. So I've had the time to try all of these bronzers, and now I have a few favorites that I didn't have before. So if you want to see these top 5 bronzers, drugstores, and high-end within my collection, then just keep on watching. When I decided to do bronzer week, and I was talking to a friend of mine that sent me a lot of bronzers as gifts from her collection, she even purchased a few ones that I wanted to try. I purchased also a few bronzers, drugstore and high-end. Here I have a mixture of both. One of them I purchased and then the rest were sent to me by my friend. And I've been trying them ever since. I've been loving them. And I have to say, drugstore makeup, I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to the drugstore. And the more I know it, the more I want to try because I've been impressed. I'm going to show you 3 that I have that are basically in the same range. And I'm going to show you my top 2 because those are 2 that I've been just obsessed with. But these other 3 I've been loving as well. And I have different reasons for loving them. The first one that I have here, this is the number 7 bronzer in the shade Golden Sand. In one of my first project pans, I think 2017 or something, I finished one in the shade Caramel and I love this formula. This one I've used. I haven't used it a ton because I have so many new bronzers in my collection, but the formula is so silky and beautiful and it's buildable. You don't have to just put your brush in it and then be worried that it's gonna be messy or it's gonna look patchy on your skin. It just blends like a dream. For me, the number 7 brand, it's a brand that I want to know more about and I wanna get to try more products because based in my opinion on the bronzer, this performs like a high-end bronzer, and all of these bronzers that I'm gonna show you, in my opinion, perform as if they were high-end. If they had a high-end brand, you would for sure love them, in my opinion. This one is a matte bronzer. It's never too dry. I love matte bronzers and I prefer them over shimmery bronzers. It's just something about preference. Some people I know that love to get dimension and the glow at the same time. I prefer to have my glow come from my highlight or my blush, and then for my bronzer to be more either satin, but subtle satin, or matte, and this is a matte bronzer for sure. The second one is one that I'm wearing on my face today. It just looks so beautiful. It's the Warm Up Bronzer by Undone Beauty, and this is in the shade 550. This is just so pretty, and this is actually a face palette because it comes with highlighters and bronzers, and it's big enough, the pan is big enough that you can put a brush only in the bronzers or only in the highlighters. So I'm wearing this as a highlighter today. I use a tiny amount since you guys know that I do not love an intense highlight anymore. And I'm right now on a phase where if I didn't wear highlight, it wouldn't matter to me. So I use these 2 bronzers mixed together. This one you have to be careful if you're my skin tone. I'm light, fair to light in skin tone. I'm not quite as fair, but even if you're fair or you're light, if you're not medium or deep, these ones you have to be careful. But if you go with a light hand, they are beautiful on the skin. So I'm gonna swatch them both separately, but I mix them together. They're quite deep, but they are so silky smooth. They remind me a lot of the Becca bronzers, but in a way, these are more pigmented. It's just the softness of the powder that blows my mind away. When I swatch them, you can see that the number 7 swatch patchy in comparison to both of them, but I almost never judge anything, any makeup item from the swatches, because if you know me, you know I love blush. If you swatch NARS blushes, for example, they swatch like crap, but when you apply them to your face, they're flawless, they're pigmented, they're beautiful, the performance is amazing. So don't judge a face powder or a color powder product based on swatches, because swatches are not always what they seem. Some products swatch beautifully and perform awfully on the face. So these ones you have to be careful, keep a light hand when applying them, but they are beautiful. You can see it. It's the bronzer that I'm wearing today. I was super subtle. I grabbed a brush and then I tapped off the excess of the brush before applying the product. and I buffed it completely into my face. I don't only go and apply it once, I will buff it as I go. Those two were gifts from my friend, and this one as well, but this one I actually wanted specifically. I was talking about this one with her, and she was kind enough to purchase it for me as a gift. So this is the Flower Beauty Heat Wave Luminous Bronzer. In my opinion, this is a satin bronzer. It's not a luminous one. I have shimmery and luminous bronzers in my collection, and they are too shimmery for me. This gives you sort of a not flat matte, and you can even see it on my finger that it has a way of reflecting light in a way, but it's not too much that I wouldn't use it. So this one is in the shade Sunrise L1, and this is stunning, you guys. This is one of those products that is different from anything you have in your collection, and if you want, you could use it as a perfect nude blush because it has a pink tone to it, so it's unique to my bronze collection. Even though I have so many bronzers, I don't think I have another one that looks quite like this. So it's this one that I have right here. This one suits my skin amazingly. It looks so beautiful on my skin. It's just stunning. It's just perfection. The way it blends into the skin is just beautiful, and I truly love the undertone of this one for a more natural look, but also it gives you sort of a sun-kissed look. For me, every bronzer that has a reddish or a pinky tone, when you have light skin, it looks like if you were sun-kissed. If you have dark skin and you grab something that's too pink and not red, then you can look ashy because this is too light for deep or dark skin. I don't know if they have a deep one from this one. I have to check that out, but this is beautiful for light to medium skin. And then for the other two that I told you were my top two, I have one Revlon and one L'Oreal. And this Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Bronzer, it says that it has a glow without the glitter and that it's not cakey, and I have to agree. This, I thought it was going to be a shimmery bronzer, and I didn't want that, but this is so subtle on my skin. It looks like as if I were wearing nothing. It would just be like my dimension, my natural dimension. And it's this one right here. The color is perfection, but it's so natural looking on the skin that you have to look up close to see that I have bronzer. So this is one that when I'm not wearing makeup, when I'm going to the gym and if I'm feeling puffy and I feel like my face is looking too round, then I will apply this and it looks as if I was wearing nothing to contour my face or to give dimension to my face. So I really love this. I haven't worn it with a heavy hand because the first time that I applied it, I was going to the gym and I fell in love with it that way, so I've used it that way. But for me nowadays, where I don't want something super heavy on my face, I prefer to do something that looks subtle on my face and then to focus on my eyes and do something subtle on my face. This is just beautiful. The shade that I have is 110 Sunlit Glow, and this, you guys, is just perfection. And the way that it's a baked powder tells me that it's gonna last quite a while. And you guys, here you can see that they are quite different. All of them are super different and I love them a ton. And then my favorite of all of them, these, if I had to choose one, this would be my favorite. And these I'm actually thinking about eventually purchasing all of them, depotting them and taking them on my makeup artistry kit. That's how much I love it. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Bronzer. I have the shade Light Medium. This is a soft matte bronzer. It's perfection. For me, this blends like nothing. This is supposed to be waterproof. I haven't tested it that way, but it's just flawless. It's soft. It feels so beautiful. For me, this is high-end quality, like I said with the other ones. So I'm gonna swatch it in a different way. And this is buildable. It's the most beautiful powder. I haven't tried the powder foundation from this line, but this is just stunning. So it's this one right here. It compares to this shade right here from the Revlon one. So these are similar, even though this has a more satin finish and this one is the L'Oreal and it's more of a matte finish. This is perfect, and for me, the fact that it has a beautiful shade range, it's even better. It's goals. So this is the top drugstore bronzer, and this one I purchased myself. You can find it on Amazon, but I bet if you use a coupon, you can get it even cheaper on CVS, Walmart, or any drugstore. So for high-end bronzers, I'm gonna divide it in creams and powders because I have 4 creams that I love, and then I have 5 powder bronzers that I adore and that I have been using non-stop. I have to tell you guys, I still love my Laguna bronzer and my Hula bronzer. Those are holy grail. With one that I'm going to show you, that spoiler alert, is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. These are bronzers that I've been using for ages. I've repurchased time after time, or used them multiple times and finished them and repurchased them. But I don't want to talk only about them because those would take 3 spots from my collection, and I don't have the Hula bronzer or the Laguna bronzer in singles anymore. So let's just go into the high-end bronzers, and I'm going to start with the one that I already told you guys. This Too Faced one, I have in my collection about 3 more or 2 more because I've been finishing them that I had in palettes. So that's why I haven't been able to finish this one and just buy the new packaging, and I'm not gonna throw it away. It's in perfect condition. I have this one in the shade medium deep. I would love to get this one in the milk chocolate color for myself. This one works. Again, it's a buildable bronzer, and I love that the shade, it's more neutral. I'm gonna be showing you swatches of these ones too. So you can see it right here. This is the perfect neutral bronzer, and it's matte, and for me, matte is everything when it comes to bronzer because I feel like it gives me definition and it pulls back whatever I want to pull back. That's what I use bronzer for. I do not contour like I used to, but I basically bronze and contour at the same time with bronzer. So I don't use a separate product for contouring. So I prefer my bronzers to be matte just to sculpt the face better. This one has a beautiful scent, chocolatey scent. It blends beautifully on the skin. It has been a favorite of mine for years now. It was one, those 3 bronzers that I mentioned are the first 3 bronzers that I've purchased that are high-end. And the fact that I still love them has nothing to do with nostalgia or the fact that they were my first 3 high-end bronzers. Is that they're that good. It didn't matter how many more bronzers came into my life, those were always repurchased. I would finish and repurchase. The formulas are just beautiful. The second one, I've talked about this bronzer non-stop, and you can see that I have pan in it. This is the matte bronzing powder by Laura Mercier in the shade Soleil 1. This is perfect. This, in my opinion, competes with the other 3 that I mentioned. The only thing that I don't like about this one is that you can only get it either at the Laura Mercier website or Nordstrom. And I don't know if the shade range on this one, even though Laura Mercier has a good shade range when it comes to their complexion products, I think the shade range on this one is lacking because I think they only have 1 shade. I would love to say that they have 2 shades, but that wouldn't be enough. At least they could have 3, a deep one, a medium one, and a light one. Is this one right here. It's lighter and it's warmer than the Too Faced one. And this one has a coconutty scent to it. These 3 that I'm going to show you are basically new in my collection. This is the Glowish by Huda Beauty. I don't know if I've shown this on my channel, but I've used it and I love the marbled touch to it. I purchased it in the shade light, even though I wanted to try the medium tan one because it's the one that Kristen Dominique, she was the reason why I purchased this. I saw her using it and I fell in love with it. She used the medium tan one, but since I'm light and I'm always complaining that I buy deeper foundations than my skin tone, and I'm not wearing fake tan right now because I'm breastfeeding my baby, and that would be a mess, then I decided to go for the light one, and I'm happy that I did because the color of this one is just different from the other bronzers that I have. It has in a way a peachy tone to it. and also I feel like it's pretty neutral in a way. So it's this one right here. It has warmth to it, maybe pinky peachy. I don't know how to describe it, but this one you have to build it up, and even though it's a glowish bronzer, it's supposed to have a glow. For me, it's not shimmery. It's like I said, I prefer matte or satin, and this is definitely more satin than luminous. Every single bronzer that I'm showing you guys blends beautifully. It's easy to work with. I don't want to show something here. Maybe the one that I showed that it's the hardest to work with if you're my skin tone is the Undone Beauty one. But the rest of them, they're easy to work with and they're super blendable on the skin. You're not going to mess it up unless you do something drastic and awful. So yeah, this one is really, really pretty and I love the tone. And when I see them, the one from Laura Mercier looks warmer. This one looks more pinky, and then the Too Faced is the deepest, but it's also the most neutral. I have here my Gucci bronzer. You saw this, I think, on my favorites video. These I was so afraid to use, and the first time that I used it, I thought it was gonna look patchy. Then when I kept using it, every time I would apply it, I thought it was gonna look patchy. If you guys purchase it, remember, it may look like you put a blob of bronzer on your face first, but this blends like a dream. I love the scent. It's a Gucci scent. It's floral, but it goes away. And I love the engravement. The packaging is a 10 out of 10. I just adore this bronzer. And this is more of a reddish tone bronzer, and it has more of a satin finish as well. It's this one right here, and I have mine in the shade 02. I could have gotten away with buying shade 1, but I'm happy that I purchased this one. The scent, it feels so luxury. For me, this is one of those products that if you would carry in your purse and you were to open it, being in the presence of other women that are doing their makeup, or men doing their makeup, then this just feels like a gift to yourself. So that made me also fall in love with the bronzer. And then last but not least, this is one of my most recent purchases as well. This is the Airbrush Bronzer in the shade number 2 by Charlotte Tilbury. And this one I purchased, and then after that I purchased the cream one, and the cream one is on my favorites. And I have to tell you guys, if I had to choose between the two, the cream one would win. It's just, I think it's my favorite bronzer from my entire collection right now. But this one I have to show it to you guys because using that one, as much as I've been using it, made me wanna pull this one out and play with it more. And I love that it's a refillable bronzer, even though it's huge and you basically do not need to repurchase if you have the amount of bronzers that I have. But it's this one right here, and you can see that it compares a ton to the Laura Mercier one. So if you've been wanting to get the Laura Mercier, I think the formulas are different, even though they're both mattes. You could get the same color, but the formulas are a little bit different. I couldn't tell you how. I think the Charlotte Tilbury one is a sheer formula, and it's in a way more powdery than the Laura Mercier one. Maybe that's the difference. But the color, if you're looking for the number 1 Soleil by Laura Mercier, the Charlotte Tilbury in medium, it's basically the same shade. And they both blend beautifully. So you can see here that I have a different range of tones, and I basically use them all on my skin. I use them with the same brushes. It's just that you have to be in a certain mood, or you have to combine them with the right blush if you want to use a certain undertone of bronzer. But I'm not gonna bore you guys talking about that. It just depends on the undertone of bronzer that you prefer. But I have a beautiful range right here, and I didn't even swatch them before filming this video. I didn't know that they were gonna be all different, but I know that I choose them every time I'm gonna do my makeup because they look different from each other, and I wanna play with them and this type of blush, or this type of highlighter, or this type of eyeshadow. So I definitely keep in mind the tone that I'm gonna use depending on the look that I wanna get. So I'm happy that when I swatch them, they actually look different in swatches. Okay, you guys, so now for my cream bronzers, I thought on doing a different video, but I don't have that many cream bronzers that I would love to do a separate top 5, because I don't have 5 that I adore. I have foundations that I use as bronzers, and maybe I could talk about that in the future, but these 4 cream bronzers, I use them so much, and I love them so much. And I know that cream products are on trend right now, but even when they have been trendy before, I never liked them because I thought that they would mess up my makeup. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my age, or maybe it's just a stage, a makeup preference that I'm in right now, is that I want to use creams every single day. And every day, I think going to the gym every day in the morning started this. I started to use cream products to go to the gym every day in the morning, a little bit of a blush or a tint, and a little bit of a cream bronzer, and then only translucent powder on top, no foundation underneath, and that would be my look. So I started to develop this love for creams. So I'm going to talk to you guys about 4 bronzers that I have right now. They're different in consistency, and I use them in different ways. I have one that, since it has been longer in my collection, I know that I love it so much, and I love this formula of cream products so much. I have about 4 of them, and I want to have all of them. And it's the Nude Sticks All Over Face. I have a blush that it's a dewy one, but this is a bronzer, and this is in the shade Bondi Bay. I removed the little brush that it came with because I never used that brush. But these I've used so much that I know that if I finish, I will repurchase. That's what I have left of it, and I feel like this is beautiful because it has, in a way, that pinky tone that I talked to you guys about. It's not pink, but when I compare it to other things that I've used as bronzers during my lifetime, this has sort of a little hint of pink underneath of it. I'm doing here a heavy swatch, but when I blend it into my face, it gives me warmth, but it also gives me like a sun-kissed look. And I use these sometimes as bronzer and blush at the same time, and it's just, oh, this is perfection. These I truly, truly love, and I've known the formula for way longer than I've known the ones that I'm gonna talk to you guys about. But it's just one that I wanted to mention because people here on YouTube have been reviewing cream products. They never mentioned this one, and I think it's something that it's worth the mention. Then one that I've had since last year, or the beginning of last year, I think, is the Illamasqua Gel Sculpt in the shade Silhouette, and this is a gel bronzer. And this one looks crazy on the tube. I'm gonna show it to you. I've talked to you guys about this one. I think I even mentioned it on a favorites video. I bought the mini because I heard a Spanish YouTuber talking about this, and I love her so much. She mentioned it, and then when I did a video with Look Fantastic, I decided to pick up the small shade to see how I felt about it because I'm not that into creams. And this one was basically the first cream bronzer that I actually fell in love with. Even though I had the nude sticks for longer, this one made me use the nude sticks more because of the formula. This is a sheer formula, like I said, it's a gel formula. And when you see it right here, this looks super dark, but it doesn't translate that way. It's sheer and it's gel, and it's basically a tint on your face. It looks beautiful if you're wearing no makeup at all. It tends to work if you're wearing foundation, but I find it to work even better when you're wearing nothing, or maybe just a light drop of tinted moisturizer on your face. But this tone is just perfection. I think they have 2 shades. I haven't used the other one, and I don't remember if it's lighter or deeper. I think it's a deeper shade, but this works perfectly for me. It looks flawless on the skin, and this looks as if I'm wearing no bronzer at all, giving me dimension, but as if it would be my natural face dimension. Then this is the one that I'm wearing on my face today underneath the Undone Beauty one, and this is the Laguna Original Cream Bronzer. I love these. I've used this a ton. I purchased these and I knew that I wasn't gonna mess it up because NARS, it keeps being one of those brands that everything I try from them, everything, and this is my favorite brand in general, it never disappoints. I've tried few things from NARS and I can't even remember one of them right now that have disappointed me. The Laguna bronzer, the Orgasm blush, half of my blush collection is NARS. Then the tinted moisturizer I love so much. The NARS Sheer Glow foundation I love so much. The NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, I have it, or I had it in every shade of my makeup artistry kit, and it's still my favorite concealer. The NARS gel pots that they discontinued, the eyeliners, they're just perfection. the soft matte concealer. Like, I can go on and on and on about NARS. They're just the perfect brand, and the shade range that they carry, it's always beautiful. So when they released this one, and I didn't get it when they first released it, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get it. So now when they did the re-release, I decided that I wasn't gonna miss out on it. Looking back, I would have preferred to grab the lighter shade, but this one works perfectly on my skin. It looks darker, but you have to remember that creams will look more potent when you swatch them, but they can blend out. All of the ones that I'm gonna show you, these 4 ones, they blend out beautifully, and they don't become patchy or make everything that go on top look patchy on the skin. So this is amazing, and I love the scent of it. The 2 other ones that I mentioned, they have no scent. If you don't like scents, this has a beachy scent. It's not quite the coconut scent, but it has a beachy scent to it. And I love when these bronzers have a scent that is not quite the Huda Beauty powder super perfumey scent. Those are not my favorite. Even though I enjoy them, I think that they're too potent. This type of scent makes me feel like I'm going to the beach or something. So yeah, beautiful packaging, a lot of bang for your buck. This comes with 19 grams of product. I would highly recommend this one. I would recommend every single bronzer on this video. And then last but not least, like I said, if I had to choose one bronzer right now in my collection that will beat the rest of them, it would be my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. I was in between the NARS one and this one, but even though I feel like I love them equally, I keep reaching for this one over the NARS one time after time when I have to choose. I don't know if it's the packaging, I don't know if it's the mirror, I don't know if it's the swirl that it used to have, that it's fading away slowly, but I adore this. And I have this one in the shade medium. I wanted to get it in the shade fair, but it wasn't in stock when I purchased it. This one, the color is quite similar. This is more of a moussey texture. You guys will see. I'm trying to blend it right here so you can see it better. The NARS one looks darker. I love the packaging of this one. Like, you guys, this is so luxury and beautiful. It's the last one that it's right here. It's different from the original Laguna. This mousse texture, I feel like I'm applying a cream to powder product. Even though it's clearly a cream, this feels, and I've said this before, like the mousse formula of the foundation that everyone was using 8 years ago, the Maybelline Mousse Dream Mousse foundation. It feels something like that, but it blends stunning into the skin. I use a brush for all of these bronzers, and then maybe if I need to just blend them even more, I will use a sponge, but I will go directly with a brush and swirl it in the packaging, then swirl it again in my hand to make it even, and then I apply it directly on my face. And I almost always use a synthetic brush. From time to time I will use a Sonia G natural hair bristle brush, and they work just as good. I've seen people applying cream bronzer and then on top of the cream bronzer without setting it, applying powder bronzer. I don't do that. I find that it can make my cream bronzer look patchy. Maybe it's just me, but I prefer to set my face with translucent powder and then use a light hand of the powder bronzer to enhance what I have underneath if I feel like I need a little bit more, and then to make the bronzer situation on my face last longer. But I wouldn't recommend going with a cream and then with a powdered product that is the same category on top to set it, because I feel like that can get patchy real quick and it can look muddy. So that's just a recommendation. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know below which are your top bronzers in your entire collection. The top one drugstore, the top one high-end, and the top one that's a cream. I would love to know below. Maybe I didn't mention them on this video. I know I wanted to try the Patrick Ta one, that it's a cream and powder one, but I haven't. Maybe I will with the gift card that I have. I haven't decided that yet. But if you guys have any recommendations when it comes to bronzers or any other product that you guys want me to try, whether it's drugstore or high-end, please leave it in the comments below. Also, as an emoji today, let's just leave a palm tree or a sun as an emoji if you watch the entire video. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below or share this video. That would help my channel a lot. Remember that everything I mentioned, I will leave it linked below, and if you purchase from those links, That's a way of supporting my channel, so thank you beforehand. And that's it, you guys. I love you, and I see you tomorrow for another episode of Bronzer Week.